Hi there! Welcome back to another in the series of videos we're doing about storytelling. In the last video, we discussed the starting point for the process of writing a story, the creation of your characters and picking a genre for your story. In this video, we'll discuss in brief the concept of planning your story, whether this works for you, and how best to go about it. The first thing to note is that you don't need to plan your story excessively. This may sound counterintuitive, but some writers find planning a story stifles their creativity. Often, when writing, you may find new things occur to you that hadn't before, taking your story in unexpected directions. And it's important to allow yourself to be open to this in order to avoid frustration. Indeed, some writers find there is excitement in not knowing where the story is going. That being said, it is often useful to have some idea of what will happen in your story, especially when writing a short story with a limited word count. The next thing to be aware of is that the decisions you have made about your characters will likely be important. If your character is a grizzled detective in a science fiction future, it is unlikely your story will be about them baking a cake in a competition. However, don't let that stop you. There can be some amusement from that kind of juxtaposition. It should also be noted that some writers work a reverse order to the one I have laid out in these videos. They decide what will happen in a story first, and who the characters are afterward. There are many different ways to approach writing your story, and all of them are valid so long as they work for you. If you have started by creating your characters, a basic story can be made simply from extrapolating the goals they have and the obstacles they face. An obstacle will be something for your character to overcome in order to reach their goal. Think of it as a locked door that your character needs a key to pass. For example, if a detective wishes to solve a crime, things like the need to search for evidence, uncooperative or antagonistic witnesses, and the criminal themselves all count as obstacles in their way. Those wishing a more structured approach to their writing may choose to utilize an act structure. This is, in simple terms, a way of splitting the story into parts to identify what happens and when. The two most common act structures are the 3 and 5 act structures. While these are functionally similar, they serve slightly different purposes. As you can see on the screen, the 3-act structure follows rising action along a simple 3-part line. The setup, where the situation is laid out for the audience, the confrontation, in which the situation escalates, and the resolution, in which an ending is reached. The 5-act structure, seen here, is similar, but the parts are split more, with specific points for conflicts to begin, action to commence, and a separate epilogue act dedicated to establishing the conclusion. This can be useful to give your characters more room to explore their development within a story. Both of these structures are perfectly valid, and despite word count limits, they can both be used for shorter stories. Hopefully this has given you some idea of how to plan your story. In the next video in this series, we will cover ways to make your writing more interesting and more functional. I will also be starting a video diary of writing my own short story for the anthology, to demonstrate how to apply this advice in a practical manner. Until next time, stay safe and keep writing.